Can we please rise for Pledge of Allegiance?
I think your mic's on.
Lights on. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. What's that? I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And as customary, we are going to have a moment of silence. And in our moment of silence, can you please keep in mind the families of the mayor of Brockton, Bill Carpenter, who passed away suddenly, and Rocco Longo, who was the town administrator for the town of Marshfield and then interim town administrator for the town of East Bridgewater, who passed away. So just keep them in your thoughts. Thank you very much. I need to make the announcement that this meeting is being recorded and televised by our local cable. And just to let you know, what we're going to plan on doing tonight is that we will go into the swearing in of our two officers. Chief Brenner will be doing that. And once that is done, my board will be going upstairs to go into our regular selectmen's meeting to take care of town business. But the very first thing we'll be going into is executive session, and then we're going back into open session. So if anybody needs to be at our meeting, give us about 5 minutes after we leave here and go upstairs, 5 or 6 minutes, as we just discussed in executive session, then we'll go into open session. So at that point, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Brenner.
Thank you and good evening. I'm glad the air conditioner works so well in our building. Oh. Thank you all for attending this evening, and thank you to the town, to the board, our town administrators, and to our town clerk who will be officiating the swearing-in ceremony this evening. Tonight marks a momentous occasion for the town of Whitman and the Whitman residents, especially for Whitman Fire Rescue. Tonight, we are swearing in a new deputy fire chief and a new fire lieutenant. With the retirement of Deputy Chief Joe Feeney, who served this town for 32 years, very distinguished on my career, he served 20 years as deputy fire chief, and because of his well-deserved retirement, the promotion ladder has begun to move. And with that movement, tonight, we appoint, for the first time in 2 decades, a new deputy fire chief from within our ranks. And additionally, we promote a new fire lieutenant to fill the vacancy of the promotion of our new deputy fire chief. Both candidates being promoted tonight come from within our own ranks. This is a credit to our department and to this community. It's very rarely a good thing to promote from outside of the department. A department needs to mentor and grow its employees to move up the ranks and take on the greater responsibility. And we have done just that tonight, and we have 2 top candidates for these 2 positions. Both candidates sat for the civil service exam designed for each of their respective positions. Both candidates were top score on their respective lists. Our first promotion joined our department in 1995 as a call firefighter. He rose through the ranks. In 1998, he was appointed a full-time career firefighter. In 2009, he was promoted to fire lieutenant, where he has commanded a shift of firefighters since that time. He holds a degree from Columbia Southern University, is Fire Officer 1 and Fire Officer 2 certified. He's a certified fire instructor, certified paramedic, and currently serves as this department's training officer, fire training officer. Currently, he is assigned to Group 2 as the shift commander, but he will be moved to a day position, which is the administrative spot, within the next year or so. He is a resident of the town, living with his wife and his 2 daughters. It gives me great pleasure to invite our new deputy fire chief, Alfred Cunningham, and his wife Kate, to the podium for his official swearing in and badge pinning. Deputy Cunningham.
Yeah, I'll go first, and then you can pin them. You can stab them. Right? All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Alfred Cunningham,
I, Alfred Cunningham,
promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the bylaws of the town of Whitman.
and the bylaws of the town of Whitman.
I promise to bring to my profession
I promise to bring to my profession
a standard of quality
a standard of quality
and integrity,
and integrity,
so that the conduct of the affairs
so that the conduct of the affairs
of my office
of my office
shall be above reproach
shall be above reproach
and merit
and merit,
public confidence
public confidence,
in the position of Deputy Fire Chief.
and the position of Deputy Fire Chief.
I promise to uphold such laws
I promise to uphold such laws
and bylaws
and bylaws
to which the office
to which the office
of Deputy Fire Chief
of Deputy Fire Chief
may be subject.
may be subject.
I, Alfred Cunningham,
I, Alfred Cunningham,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will perform the duties
that I will perform the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as Deputy Fire Chief
as Deputy Fire
for the
Chief
town of Whitman
of the town of Whitman
in good faith
in good faith
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Somebody get a Band-Aid?
Now stand up, my Deputy Chief. Congratulations.
Our next promotion began his career with our department in 2000 as a call firefighter. Appointed as a career firefighter in 2004, he holds a degree from Southern Columbia University. He is Fire Officer 1 and Firefighter 2. He's successfully completed Company Officer Strategy and Tactics, and he's a certified paramedic. He is currently assigned shall be assigned as the shift commander of Group 4. He was born and raised in Whitman, is married with 2 children, but he currently resides in Hanson. I'm proudly to now invite newly appointed Lieutenant Nicholas Grasso and his wife Jenny to the podium for his swearing in and badge pinning.
Can you raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me? I, Nicholas Grasso,
I, Nicholas Grasso,
promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
I promise to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
the laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts,
and the bylaws of the town of Whitman.
and the bylaws of the town of Whitman.
I promise to bring to my profession
I promise to bring to my profession
a standard of quality and integrity,
a standard of quality and integrity,
so that the conduct of my affairs of my office
so the conduct of my affairs in the office
shall be above reproach
shall above reproach
and merit
and merit
public confidence
public
in
confidence
the position of fire lieutenant.
in the position of fire lieutenant.
I promise to uphold such laws
I promise to uphold such laws
and bylaws
and bylaws
to which the office of fire lieutenant
to which the office of fire lieutenant
may be subject.
may be subject.
I, Nicholas Grasso,
I, Nicholas Grasso,
do solemnly swear and affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will perform the duties
that I will perform the duties
incumbent upon me
incumbent upon me
as fire lieutenant
as fire lieutenant
for the town of Whitman
for the town of Whitman
in good faith
in good faith
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability.
so help me God.
So help me God.
And congratulations.
it's customary that firefighters wear shields on their helmets so they can be easily identified. Generally, the chief officers have a design gold leaf shield, which Deputy Cunningham is unlike having made. But for Lieutenant Grasso, here is your Group 4 helmet shield that you will wear proudly and display proudly. Thank you.
Welcome, Lieutenant. All set?
Yep.
Okay, at this point, at this time, our board will be adjourning to upstairs to go into executive session for about 5 or 10 minutes before we go into open session. Anyone who wishes to stay in the hall and congratulate our new elected, our new officers, you're welcome. Thank you. We're back in the open session, and I'd like to again to announce that this meeting is being recorded and televised by a local cable company. And I'd like to open with the approval of bill and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Acceptance of correspondence in the read-file. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Anybody wish to speak in public forum who's in?
Mr. Chairman, I
Yeah.
would just like to mention that, as you know, because we went together, the event at the VFW for the jarheads who were injured and killed in New Hampshire, I'd have to say, and the assistant town administrator was there as well with us. I was so taken aback by the immense participation from the community and everyone outside of the community. I've never seen anything like that in all my years in Whitman. I've never seen such a mass of people for such a great cause, and I have to commend the VFW for coordinating that. It was really something that I wish didn't have to happen, but I can honestly say that I will remember that the rest of my life. And I just thought everybody should know that.
Right, thank you for that. I'd like to, a motion to approve the meeting minutes of open session, May 6th. Do you hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
I need a motion to approve the open meeting minutes for open session on June 17th.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I need a motion to approve the open session minutes of June 19th.
So moved.
I will second and then abstain due to
Okay.
my absence on that date.
Okay, so all in favor? 2, so it's 2, 1 abstain. All right. Town administrator's report, he is not here, we can hold off on that until he comes back in. Right now, he's at the Finance Committee discussing some line item transfers, and he'll come back in to discuss that with us. Okay, budget review appointment for the appointment budget override, I think they're gonna change it to, Lisa, Frank, was consideration committee?
Budget override evaluation.
Say that again?
Budget override evaluation.
Evaluation committee, right. Because of the fact that we cannot, the town cannot, let's say, show that we are approving it, even though we are approving it, the taxpayers have to make that decision. So this is what we decided to change the name. And what we're appointing is a number of people. Citizen at large would be John Galvin. Another citizen at large, Christopher George. Finance Committee member Dave Cadero. Finance Committee member Scott Limbiazzi. Our Fire Chief, Timothy Greno. Our Public Works Superintendent, Bruce Martin. School Administrator, Jeffrey Smearsmouth,
Simon Hack.
whatever his name is, yeah.
Simon.
School Committee Member Don Byers, Selectman Justin Evans, and Selectman Randy Lamatina, and of course our Town Administrator Frank Lanham. Nobody from the police department's on this?
No, we decided to have one public safety person. and
Okay.
We decided Tim was easier.
Tim
to
would
go
cover
on
both?
Than me.
Okay. Shock and awe, yeah. So at that point, these are the names that we're going to appoint, and I assume that we need a motion to appoint the members that I just outlined?
A motion to accept the members that are recommended.
Okay.
appointed.
Everyone's been notified and accepted.
As far as I understand, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so I hear a motion.
So,
Second.
Okay, any other further discussion on it? All in favor? Aye. So there's our committee. On the new business, vote on the contract of employment for our town accountant. Do I hear a motion?
so moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on it? Just to let you know that we have already discussed it, we looked at his contract, he's very comfortable with it, we are comfortable with it, and that's it. So, all in favor?
Aye.
There you go, you all set. Thank you very much. Act on the request of Chief Greno to increase the rate for ambulance services. Chief, you want to get up and talk about it?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. It's been a couple of years since we increased our rates for ambulance billing. I believe it was 2016. It's just with a sign of the times, insurance rates are going up. Also, there is legislation filed, which sits in conference committee right now, which will limit the levels at to which you are able to bill insurance companies for the use of emergency services. Should that bill come out of conference committee, there will be a rollback date as to when you could have raised your rates by, and if it is after that date, then you would be rolled back to what you were previously.
Okay.
And then you can only increase your rates by what the health care benchmark is per year, which is usually around 2 or 3%. So these rate increases are in line with what our billing company has recommended. It is the same Medicare billable rates which most of our neighboring towns are using, in most towns in Plymouth County and Norfolk County. So I would ask that the board approve this rate increase, and we'll start it.
Because I've known in the past, we've been much lower than other towns. And then we
With
try
our
to bring
rates,
them up
yes.
in an average of what
So
the
we'll be
towns are.
comparable with East Bridgewater, Rockland, Duxbury, a couple others, I believe, Pembroke.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Any questions for the chief? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you.
Act on the resignation of Heidi Hosmer from the position of member, Whitman Cultural Council, effective June 25th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Act on the appointment, act to appoint Joseph Killiman to the, what is it?
Kleinman.
Kleinman, thank you, to the position and member of Whitman Cultural Council for a 3-year term through June 30th, 2020, in order to fill the existing vacancy.
So moved.
Do you hear a second?
Second.
Any further questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's it. Now, all that was left on the agenda was Town Administrator's report. Did you want to discuss, where did Lisa go?
She probably went over to check.
Okay, see if Frank's there. What we're looking at is budget line transfer request for fiscal year 2019. One was salary line. There's certain salary lines that need to be taken care of. And what we have to do is the Finance Committee first has to discuss them. They have to vote on them. And then once they vote on them, then it comes before us and we discuss it and we vote on it. They cannot be transferred unless both the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen have reviewed them. And I have a list of the line items, but not exactly what they are. I know one's line item 172 to line 57, one's line item 256 to line 257, and line 48 to line 50. They're all, I believe, are they payroll? I think most of them are payroll. I can't open my, Laurie, do you know? Most of them payroll? Do you have the list of where Frank's at as far as the transfer requests? I have a list of the numbers, but not exactly.
Yes, Mr. Vice Chair, he is finishing up the discussions over with the Finance Committee now on the line transfers, especially line 123 to line 124, and they will be over very shortly.
Okay,
Okay, they just want me to let them know when you are ready for them as well.
okay. I know that, yeah, the first one is a miscellaneous salary from another salary line item. One is not drawing, we need more for the law account from Norfolk Agricultural. And then a Medicare and life insurance match, going from one to the other. So we'll have to wait till Frank comes here to explain it. So we'll all know exactly what it's on.
These should have been voted on last week, but
Right.
the Finance Committee didn't have a quorum, is that correct?
That's correct.
Right.
That's correct.
So that's why
So they
it's
are
kind of last
in the
minute.
process right now of working on those.
Yeah.
And today is the last day to make any of these moves?
Yes, that's
For
correct.
fiscal 19.
They said that they will be in shortly. If you're ready, I will let them
We
know
are.
that you're ready.
Oh, we're ready, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, we'll take a brief recess until Frank has completed, because they, they need to discuss it.
We can talk about something else that was on the budget, on the agenda, correct?
Sure.
All right, well, just because we do have some of the appointees out in the crowd here.
Oh, yeah.
Just to try and get the budget subcommittee set up, I guess for tonight, I'll kind of take point on that. We can get some dates emailed to me that would work for you guys to get a first meeting, hopefully in the next couple weeks.
What is the consensus on when you want to meet? Next time, anytime, or you-
Now, do you have to elect the chairman, or is this going to be Frank, going to be?
Well, I guess as ranking member
Yeah.
this evening, just to get some type
Right.
of
Yeah.
first meeting down, then we can elect the chair and all that and set it up correctly. But rather than leave here tonight with everyone not knowing what the next step is, let's try to lock down a meeting date. Chief, any ideas for you?
I'm assuming it's something that one you're working on. I'm on vacation from the end of this week and all next week, so I would say the week of the 22nd, do something. Try. Do you know what else?
Yep. Mr. Galvin, could you guys send me some dates that maybe we can look at something either that last week of July, a day, and then we can try to lock down a time and just get that first meeting and.
Right, you got to get going.
And then, would that work for you, John?
Yeah, I'm wide open that whole week there.
All right,
Are we
so,
talking about nighttime meetings or daytime meetings?
at that, we can try and figure out a time that would work best for everyone. I think getting the first meeting in is going to be the toughest thing, and then we can all kick around.
School committee meeting that Monday, the 22nd already, just to let you know that date.
All right, do you want to shoot for,
Are there any other special meetings this month?
No.
no. Do you want to shoot for the 27th? Or the 20th?
24 looks good for me. I'll email you.
All right, yeah. How about everyone emails me 3 dates, and I'll take the,
Yeah, keep in mind that Frank is still,
yeah,
rehabilitating after his operation.
yeah, that's why maybe that last week might be better.
Week of the 29th.
Yeah, from the 26th to the, starting on the 26th there.
Can I ask you? This is just general discussion, right?
Yes.
Topic. So can I ask you, I wasn't at the meeting that the board decided on the makeup of the committee, but I'm kind of curious as to why there's no financial people like the town accountant or the town treasurer or anybody like that that's in the middle of the assessor's office on this committee.
Interesting question.
Why wouldn't we have at least the accountant or assessor knows the tax rate and what's coming in.
Yeah. Yeah. Chief Grano has an
They're
interesting
still
question.
discussing.
Why we don't have, say, somebody like the town accountant on the committee?
I can't answer that question. I really wasn't a part of determining who was going to be a part of the committee.
Maybe because it would have to be paid? I don't know.
He is, as far as I understand, he will be sitting in on the meetings. He will be sitting on meetings. He may not be a voting member, perhaps. I'm not
Okay.
really sure. Said I wasn't a part of the initial
Yeah.
I don't think
discussion
there
of
is
putting the
a
committee
limit
together.
as to how many people you can have on this committee anyway, right? This,
No, but you want you want it to have all areas covered.
right?
He will be an active member with helping to add up the figures and going over figures and things like that. So the Finance Committee is still discussing a couple of these, so I've let them know that you're ready.
Yeah.
And I gather they'll be over as soon as they're finished.
So do we want to go into a
Recess?
recess? We're going to go into a recess until Frank and the Finance Committee are completed. Can you sign this? And so we will be in recess as of now. Okay, we're back in open session. Frank is done meeting with the Finance Committee members. Frank, the only part of the agenda that we haven't completed was Town Administrator's report, and that was dealing
Some,
reserve fund transfer.
which involves some reserve fund, or not some reserve, but some budget line
Yeah.
transfer requests.
Right.
Now, the Finance Committee has these as well for action tonight. There are other transfers which we previously voted, that were voted by the Finance Committee tonight, so I'll go down this list. Line 7 is our administrative assistant. In the course of setting her salary from year to year, the number of hours she will actually work is uncertain. In this year, we actually were $1,105.28 short. We originally thought we were $750 short until the treasurer did the final payroll. So that $750 was voted by the Board of Selectmen and was voted tonight by the Finance Committee. I'm now requesting the Selectmen to approve an additional $355.28. It is coming from a line that was used to fund all salary increases when the contracts were settled last year. But because the contract was OPIU, it would not apply to a non-union person, so we actually have to transfer the money.
Okay. So you want a motion on that now? Or do you want to
Please.
wait till you finish everything?
There might be different discussions. I think it might be easier to vote them one at a time.
Okay, so, all right, so then I need a motion to accept the first budget line transfer request from miscellaneous salary to line 7 for $355.28.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Any further discussion on it?
With respect to the chair, we'll have to do the same thing and request a motion to approve and also get a second with the
Correct.
Finance Committee. So I'll entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Abstained.
So it's been
Selectmen
approved.
at 3-0, and finance is 601.
Okay, the next item is the line item 172 to line item 57, Frank?
As you know, each year when we make appropriations, I believe that's the lower account, I'm just looking for the transfer right now.
I know,
we're not always certain what our expenses can be. We've had a number of unique issues that have come up this year that have required us to seek advice of counsel and representation for counsel that involve several different matters that that actually are still under litigation. But the end result is in order to pay the anticipated bill for June, I'm seeking a transfer of $12,000. That should be more than sufficient to pay the bill.
And this goes into the law account?
Yes.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
A second?
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion?
We have a second?
Any discussion on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
So it's unanimous across the board?
Yes.
All right, line item 256 to line item 257, Frank.
Okay, that request has been reduced to 2230.42. It represents our FICA payment, which is based on total salaries paid each month, and then ultimately at the end of the year. Until we complete our June payroll, we're not certain as to what that number was. We were close enough in May that we felt we were going to go over. I thought we needed a little less. Mary Beth was concerned about making sure that she had enough, particularly since it was going to be voted in what ultimately would be the last voting cycle of the year. So she requested the 5,000, but the actual number is 2230.42. The treasurer collector submitted a memo to us notifying us of the lesser number, and that's what I would ask be the number voted tonight.
Okay, do I hear that motion?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
I'll entertain a motion.
Motion as amended?
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All in favor? It's unanimous.
Unanimous across the board. Okay, and the next one is line item 48 to line item 50, Frank, $140.30.
Once again, when we budget for employees, we budget precisely what we expect they will work in the course of the year. In this particular instance, we were slightly off on the treasurer clerical employee, actually in the collector's office, Sherry. And part of that is because although we have a very limited overtime line, we have to maintain our operations each day until the end of the day, and then we have to balance and get out. That results sometimes in additional time, in accumulated time. We're talking about, I believe it's 4 hours over the course of the year. And this is money that's owed under payroll. We did have more in the other line, so we're looking to transfer from one to the other. And let me just explain that. The town hall contract provides that all full-time employees except the custodian work a 31-hour work week. That's Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 hours apiece. And then Tuesday is 10 hours. However, 3 of those hours are at an overtime rate under the contract provision. So it's 31 hours, but it's actually 32 and a half hours of pay. However, if you take a vacation, you get straight time, not overtime, because you actually have to work those 3 hours to get paid. So we do end up with a little extra in those lines sometimes because someone may not work a Tuesday night.
Okay. Okay, that being said, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Do you have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All in favor? Across the board, unanimous? Okay, and the last one, Frank, line item 123 to line item 124 for 45,816.28.
Okay. I don't think it's any secret that the chief of police is planning on retiring within the next year, possibly within the calendar year. Over a period of several years, the chief has accumulated a significant amount of vacation time. Vacation time is time earned, and we're obligated to pay it. If we were to simply do business as usual, at some point in time, when the chief retires, we will have to pay for that earned but unpaid overtime, and it would create a substantial shortfall in the salary line. I prepared an outline, and for the benefit of everyone here, I'll just read the transfer. Police chief has accrued unused vacation totaling 95 and a half days. At his current salary, his per diem rate is $661.73. I believe it's his intent to retire sometime in the calendar year. As of July 1st, 2019, the chief will accrue an additional 35 days, bringing the total number of days to 130 and a half. While we are developing policies to prevent this type of accrual in future years, we're obligated to pay unused vacation on termination of employment. Recognizing this liability is my recommendation that we set aside what is anticipated to be unexpended funds in the police salary line to lessen the financial impact when the chief does retire. Given there are only 244 and a half work days in all of the next fiscal year, it is likely that a significant number of days will be payable, and this transfer will permit the town to accrue for a large portion of that liability. The funds will be encumbered in an appropriation number which was created for this purpose. It ends in 285, and the title is Accrued Unused Vacation. As you know from the contract I just signed, we have made some changes in our position on how we handle vacation and vacation carryover. We have collective bargaining agreements that have specific limitations depending on the agreement. We have, the chief is not currently under contract. He is a civil service chief. He's entitled to his salary, and he's entitled to the benefits he had when he began the year. I think this is I think it's a necessary thing, not to delve too deeply, but in the past, it was commonplace for towns to allow people to accrue sick time and vacation time so that at the end of their employment, they had a goodbye check. Frankly, Whitman Hanson still does that. We have discontinued that in all of our contracts. Ironically, the state still does that, still allows that accrual and payment. But times are different, and we need to change our thinking. We are working on a policy update that will be a model for future hiring and discussions, and it will limit that accrual in future years. I have reduced my contractual right to accrual from 25 days to 5 days. I think it's something we have to do. But I also think this is an obligation we have, and we need to be prepared to address it. So for that reason, I'm asking that we take this money and put it aside for a future expense. Now, if the chief should suddenly decide he wants to take half a year off, that would be different, then it would be a lesser number. But the fact of the matter is, this is money we owe. It's less than half of what we owe as of July 1st. So I think it's a smart thing for us to do this.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
I have further discussion on this.
Yes?
The concern that I have is that over the last budget season, department heads told us that they were able to absorb any increases to their line items in order to save money for the town and try to allow for the functioning of the town through appropriation of cash to line items. This line item transfer is going to represent about $80,000 of money that was transferred from one police account to another. And the concern that I have is that in a fiscal year that we were asking department heads to really tighten the belt, we're getting $80,000 of transfers for unexpected expenditures, where I don't think it was prudent for that particular department head to have $80,000 to be sitting in an account when it could be used for other town services. Now, I understand that most department heads will have an increase of their line items just for exactly this reason. But again, $80,000 represents a large sum of money that could have went to other services that were cut last year or this upcoming year.
Dave, I'd like to respond to that. The $80,000 you're talking to represents 2.2% of that entire budget. And unlike Town Hall or the library or the DPW, where we have fixed schedules and fixed costs, in public safety, we have a number of items that are unpredictable. We don't know if somebody's going to get sick. And every time someone's out, that's a shift fill at double time plus the pay for the person who's out. We don't know if we're going to have line of duty injuries. I remember one year we had 5 people out. We don't fill every shift. The chief has made an effort over the year to control that cost. And if we were not doing these transfers, at the end of the year, we would be turning back $80,000 to the general fund, which again represents 2% of that budget. That money could easily have been spent by filling shifts we didn't fill and for doing things that we probably should be doing that we don't do because we're trying to be fiscally prudent. The only reason I'm asking for this transfer is because the opportunity exists to do it. Otherwise, we'd be looking for a special town meeting vote. And we may still, depending on when things play out. So I understand what you're saying, but I would like everyone to understand that we can't budget based on dollar salaries exactly for either of those departments because there's no way to anticipate the cost. If the treasurer's office, one of the employees is out sick for a week, we don't have someone to call in. So that position just goes empty for that week. We don't have that luxury in public service, public safety. And that's why we do have budget surpluses in that area some years. There are years I've seen them turn back $100. There's years where we've actually gone in May and asked for substantial transfers to fund the existing operations. What I'm saying here is we're paying for something that essentially the town agreed to. The town agreed to allow carryover of vacation time, and we're changing that policy. And it will be reflected in what we do in fiscal '20 and fiscal '21 and fiscal '22. But again, this is an opportunity to address a liability that already exists.
That's fine. With all due respect, though, it's been explained to the Finance Committee year after year that these public safety department heads budget exactly for those particular reasons that you meant. That one reason that you mentioned was, sick leave or that type of need. There's been no communication from the police department that was a need this year. So I disagree with that argument, that $80,000 was a need this year. That's all I'm saying. I'm not questioning the validity of the need of the line item transfer, and that's pretty much the point I'm trying to get across.
And all I'm trying to make is if we were not to do these things, that money would still be there and it would go back into the general fund.
Chief would like to say
But we are
something.
never going to fund 100% of our expected salary and expected coverage because we'll lose every year.
Chief.
What is the 80,000? You said 80,000.
It was cumulative line item transfer.
Line item transfers from the 12,000 that we had to do the computer stuff over that I had no control over, is that one of them?
Yes.
That's what we anticipate? So I come to the Finance Committee and I tell you every year that we don't fill about 500 to 700 shifts. And I tell you I can't anticipate snow and emergencies and things like that. We had a light winter, we were able to make it through, we cut our budget. I spoke to the town administrator, I said I'm gonna have this money left in all of the services, which is salary. I see myself leaving, so I thought it was prudent and smart, as has been outlined here, that the school department people, when their administrators leave and other administrators leave, they cash out whatever they cash out. I've been here for 33 years. I thought I was doing the right thing. I didn't know we were gonna have a joint Finance Committee Selectmen's meeting that wasn't posted. I didn't know my name was gonna come up. I didn't know we were gonna get into this, but I have no problem with getting into it. Those are the reasons that I told the town administrator that I thought we should probably move this money over so that we don't cripple any of the police department's budget for the next year. Now, if that's wrong, as far as managing the police department and what goes on, let me tell you something. I don't need you or anybody else in here to tell me that I did a good job, because I know I did, because we came out with money on the other end. So I can't just spend money and then hope for the best and come over here and hope for a transfer and say, well, maybe I can put a few more guys out. I've explained salaries and different schedules and what different people make. We have a lieutenant that makes $600 on a shift, and if I have a reserve take it, it's $180. There's a big discrepancy there. I can't control and pick who covers what shifts. So as far as, I guess, me, if the allegation is that I somehow had an extra $80,000 or I knew I was gonna, I'm not Nostradamus, I couldn't predict it. All I could do was say that I know I have this money in all other services, I know I'm gonna be leaving, I know the town owes me the money, and so this is why we should hold it over.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
I think Rosemary has a question
It
behind it.
wasn't 80,000. He did mention that we would be doing he gave a guesstimated amount, it was less than 80, because he gave the guesstimated amount for the technology, we knew that was coming up. He just, I believe he didn't have the exact amount, is that correct, Steve? You did mention before?
I think not.
For it wasn't entirely 80. What's included in that is the technology.
Can't hear it.
And you had mentioned that.
All right.
Right.
The technology thing that came up wasn't anticipated at all. We just had to do.
Hold on, if anyone needs to speak, it's been.
I know, they need to get up,
Russian.
they need to get up so we can
The
hear.
mic is here. They need to come to the mic.
But I think, Mr. Chairman, we're kind of getting sidetracked
Right.
from what the
Yeah.
line item request is.
And if I may, Mr. Chairman, I think I speak on behalf of the entire board, and this is not related specifically to this transfer request, but our collective concern is for the policy. And I understand the policy is in development, but the policy is long overdue. I think that the auditors made it clear that this is part of an unfunded liability that the town has with no funding source in place. So I think that speaks to the bigger question, and again, I understand fully the challenges that the police chief faces with his budget. What I'm asking for the Board of Selectmen is to move quickly on developing and implementing a policy that ends this practice that does cripple budgets. It's happened time and time again, and it's really time to put it to bed.
Yeah, we've started that, but here's the issue that I see. Do we have employees that are grandfathered? I don't know. That, I mean, if we say that you can't accrue X amount, like Frank said, 5, you can carry accrued 5 days. Oh, 5 weeks?
Days.
Right? So, I
And
mean,
short of a sudden departure, I don't expect to be having this conversation about anyone next year.
okay.
I want to leave it at that. There are some bargaining responsibilities involved, and we'll
Right.
do those. We've started those,
Right.
but I want to make it clear that these are accrued liabilities from a long period of time, and it takes time to change things. Just like it'll take time to change things if we look at collective bargaining agreements and say, hey, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. There's almost always a quid pro quo, and it is very difficult to change benefits overnight. It takes time.
Okay. Do you have something?
If I may, I think Rick said it very well. I don't know if you guys are aware, the DPW last year, the DPW commissioner, the water department commissioner, he left suddenly at $45,000
Yeah.
unused vacation time. That could have gone for DPW vehicle. I mean, I know the policy's there, the money's owed, but the way Rick said it,
Right.
we can't afford this anymore. Private sector, you don't usually get that. I know the state still does it, but a town like us, everybody sees the money we're scrambling to get. So please, act on it.
And I agree with you, and we are addressing that. I mean,
I think
we're dealing
there are a
with
few other people that will be coming forth in the next couple of years.
that. I feel the same way, that there are some people that may be grandfathered in
Yeah.
that we need to seriously look at.
Well, again, those issues are going to be addressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like Rick said,
Yeah,
I just want
agree
to make
with
sure, I
you.
didn't know if you guys were aware of
No, yeah.
the situation. Thank you.
Well, not to get into, obviously, it's a tricky situation as far as contractual bargaining, but I think, just for the people watching at home and other people, there has been quite a large amount of legal discussion already done on this, to see what exactly the town is liable for. Town council has said we are liable for this debt payment. So.
Simple, yeah.
It really comes down to, it's as simple as that. There's nothing we can do. We are liable for the payment. We must make it. Beyond that, like Frank said, there may be one other person that may be addressed down the line in a couple of years. But this is a payment we are liable to make. We have to make it. Is this the year to make the funding change? And that's what we should be looking at right now. Are we going to make this line item transfer?
Any further discussion on it? Do I hear a motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Motion approved? Do you have a second?
Second.
Further discussion?
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Was it unanimous or?
Yes, unanimous.
Across the board?
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, so we do hear you. We are looking at the issue, and hopefully, like Randy said, maybe one other person, and if that comes up, or if we maybe find another way of solving the issue, and then we should have some policies in place where this doesn't happen again.
Okay. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman.
Yes,
Quick question.
Sean.
Sean, you'll have to go over here, the mic is here.
I guess for Mr. Lynham, just a quick update on the strategic plan and the capital plan.
Well, again, We had a first meeting with the Capital Group, the Collins Center, I should say. They presented what I would consider they called it a high-level view. I call it a 10,000-foot view. We're going to be meeting again, hopefully in a week if I can set it up, to go through the additions that needed to be made to it, including the appropriations from June 26th. Once they take that back and they prepare an outline, we will be holding a public meeting on that process. It will be advertised and people will be invited to attend and hear the proposal. The budget presentation committee, I sent corrections back on that. When they go in the hospital on the 24th. On the 22nd, on Saturday, I heard from Sarah yesterday on that, and they're working to present that as well. Once they're prepared, once we're satisfied that they've collected the information, then we're going to meet publicly so people will have an opportunity to see what's in development and have feedback for it. As you know, I think you know, the board voted tonight to appoint a budget override evaluation committee. I think that's a really important part of this step, and I'm pretty confident that we've got the right people involved in that, and we have to finish this process in order to let them do their job.
And the strategic plan specifically.
Well, the strategic plan is going to be a development of the capital and budget plans and the override. I mean, that they all have to come together into a strategic plan.
Yeah. Frank, one thing that Randy brought up is that on this committee that you need to get a date set where you can set up your offices on the committee and when you plan on doing it. So, I mean, there's something.
I agree, and I think it should probably be the week of the 26th. I will send out a meeting request outline to see when people are available to do that.
Yeah.
Because that has to get into motion right now. And hopefully by the 26th, we'll have those final drafts that we're ready to look at for the budget.
Yeah, because you've got a number of people on that committee that you need to coordinate where everyone can meet on a certain date, which is, the more people you have, the harder it is, so.
Well, that's the challenge for any committee,
Yeah.
as you know, but
This is a huge committee.
it's a large committee. It represents basically the education area, the public safety area, and you know, we picked one person for public safety.
Yeah.
One for DPW, one for the rest of the town departments, which is me, so
Yeah.
I'll be getting a lot of feedback from people. And we have two pretty good representatives for the school department. And certainly, the folks on the finance committee are not unfamiliar with this process.
I guess just to wrap up, so in April, you said you were thinking about, or you would ask the board if you should reach out to the Division of Local Services for some support to help write the strategic plan. Are you gonna actually publish a strategic plan, or is anybody gonna help you, like, put together a strategic plan that will be published? Kind of like what's happening with the capital plan, is that in development, or is that gonna happen later on?
The chairman and I were talking about getting together a group of people to start a formal strategic plan. I don't recall in April saying we were reaching out to the Department of Revenue for that. I don't know if they do that, but I'll certainly look at it if that's the case. I'll look at it tomorrow.
No, I'm not sure if that's exactly what you said, but I thought you referenced the group that you'd potentially look out, similar to the Collins Center, as somebody to support the development of a strategic plan.
Well, the part of the problem with the effective development of a strategic plan is having a planner, somebody who is well-prepared and facilitates those things. Typically, they're hired to come and prepare an outline and help us come up with, I'm just picturing SWOT across the board again, SWOT. But we don't have an appropriation for that, so we're going to have to do it in-house unless we can get outside assistance. And like I said, I frankly have not thought about the Department of Revenue, but it's entirely possible they do have that service. I will reach out and find out.
Frank, would Old
If
Colony-
not, we're going to lean on Scott Lambiase and a few other people we know who've been through that process and start piecing it together.
Yeah, Frank, would the Old Colony Planning Council be able to, because they have town planners.
We can ask, I don't know.
I mean, I'm meeting Thursday.
Yeah.
No, I know they have a town planner, so they may be able to help us out.
Well, the discipline that we need for that is different than what you might get from a town planner.
Right.
Because my experience with strategic plans, and I've probably done 4 or 5 in my career, one with the schools, it's like herding cats. You really have to bring them together and focus. And you need someone who can concentrate solely on that to make
Yeah.
the rest of it work. But those are 2 good ideas.
Yeah.
MPC, I think, right? Yeah. So I will look into both of those.
Okay.
Just to be candid, I am recovering from surgery. I'm doing okay right now, and I'll be okay until I walk another 10 steps. So I'm not going to be as immediately available right now as I might be in a couple of weeks. But I have been working from home, and we have got some things done. I will follow up on these things and get them in place. You have any interest in the chair or the cap?
Just get well. Is there anything further?
Nope.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're done.